Hi, this is Susie with Creative Café, and I'm going to do a tutorial on my Halloween in Wonderland purse mini. I'm going to show you how I made the body and the handle, and give you kind of the measurements where I punched the holes. So anyway, and also on this little piece here. So this is what you need. I used a pretty sturdy chipboard. I'm just going to cut it out on regular paper to show you. I'm not going to waste my chipboard. But anyway, you need at least a medium weight chipboard. And a lot of times if you'll go to your local scrapbook store, if you have one, a lot of times will sell those very cheap to you because they come in the bottom of their packing on their papers. So you might ask if you haven't. And also, a lot of times on the paper pads you buy, occasionally you will get those chipboard pieces on the very back of the of your paper pad. You might hang on to those. They come in handy for projects like this. So anyway, what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock. It's got to be at least a 12 wide cardstock, or chipboard. And what you want to do is, the bottom of the album is an 11.5. So what I actually did was I come in 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch to make up that other 1/2 inch, because I only need 11.5 and this is 12. And then you want to come up center about 5 1/8 inch and just kind of mark your line. And then you want to come in at your sides at 2 inches and just make a little mark. Come in this side at 2 inches and just, make a little mark. I guess I need to make my mark right at the 2 inches. Make your marks right at the 2 inches. And then here, of course, is your 5 1/8 inch there. Now, once you have marked here, coming in at 1/4 of an inch here and 1/4 of an inch here, once you've marked that, and once you've marked here and here where you've come in that 2 inches and your 5 1/8 here, just simply take your ruler and at about the 5 1/2 inch mark on your ruler, that's where you want it to hit that point. Just right at 5 1/2, and just draw you a line from your point to your point. Same way here, you want to hit your point right at the 5 1/2 on the edge of the paper, and then just draw your mark up to where your coming in at 2 inches is. And then here is your 5 1/8. And if you have a ruler like this one here, which is the Tim Holtz, you can kind of see when you're straight because of the little lines. If you'll just line that little line up with your paper, hit it on that 5 1/8 inch mark, and just draw it across. Then you can just cut out this piece here, and I'm going to do that real quick. You can just cut out that piece right there real quick. And it will be, of course, you'll want to do it on a paper cutter because you're going to be using chipboard. So you will want to do this, the chipboard on a paper cutter. Okay, and then that gives you your body. This is your body for your purse. Okay, the next thing you want to do is take an inch and just mark an inch on both sides. This is how I made my template for the holes, and I'm going to show that to you right here. That's how I made this template, so that every one of my holes would be right on when I made my album. So you want to take your inch, and you've got an inch here and an inch here. Of course, get your ruler and just draw you a straight line across so that you have a nice straight line across. Then once you have done that, you want to measure 11.5 and make you a point. And once you have made your point, I would go ahead and cut out my inch piece that I just cut, and then take it and kind of place it on your chipboard and mark your lines, and just go ahead and clip your lines. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you want to come in at about 1.5 inches and just make a little X. And you could come in here about 1 inch, and it should be right at 1.5 inches, and make your little X. And then on the center, which should be right at about 5 3/4, draw you kind of a line there. That's going to be your center. And then I took my ruler, and at 3/8 of an inch, at about 3/8 of an inch, I just drew a line, you know, took my thing and drew a line, and then just drew me a straight line across. That way each X was on that line. Then what I done was I took my ruler, and when I had my first X at 1.5 inches, I slid my ruler over, and here was my mark, and then right at the 1/2 inch I made another X. Then I went over 1 1/4 inches, made an X. On my 1/2 inch mark, made the other inch. And that made my holes about 1/4 of an inch apart. And I did that all the way across. If you don't want to start at the ends, maybe you don't want that many holes, then on your 5 3/4 center mark, just go over, kind of center your 1/2 inch right there on that center mark, and make you an X, make you an X, and then measure it that way, because you may just want 2 more holes over here and here. You may not even want those. So that's how I ended up measuring for my holes. Then what I did was I took my crocodile, and I put it on about not a little over 1/2 inch, I think, or a little under 1/2 inch. It looks like a little under 1/2 inch. And what I did was I just found my X, and I punched my holes. And I just did that all the way across, and then I got an even mark all the way across. And it should land pretty close on the mark that you made, on your 3/8 inch mark. Anyway, that's how I made my template. Then I just put my template when I finished, when I finished my page is when I did it. And I just went through and I just marked my holes on here and then punched them. So that way every one of them was the same. Okay, once you've done that, and I'm going to go ahead and punch these holes out here. Okay, now once you have done that, you want to make your handle, which all I did was take my my piece of chipboard and marked it at 1/2 inch there and cut a 1/2 inch piece. And then I kind of bent my chipboard a little bit with my hands. It'll bend just kind of like that. And then I took some ribbon, and I took some adhesive, and I just used my ATG gun. And what I did was attach my ribbon. And if my ribbon was a little smaller than a 1/2 inch, I would just cut it down a little smaller so that the chipboard really didn't show, just my ribbon did. And I adhered it to the top part, and I adhered it to the back side, which you can see here. I've adhered it on the back side and adhered it on the top side. Okay, then for this little circle piece here, now if you have a circle punch that is large enough to to do that, then, you know, that's great. But what I used was a styrofoam plate. And on my styrofoam plate, I drew up 2 3/4 inch up. And I kind of had to flatten this. But if you'll just take it and kind of find a center, what looks centered to you, take your 2 3/4 inch line and just mark it. Then I kind of just tried to get it straight, and I just broke my plate. But anyway, you just want to try to get that straight. Draw you a line. Then take your paper and kind of line up your paper with your lines that you just drew, and simply draw you a circle. And if I hadn't broke my plate, this is what it would have looked like. And I just used that to draw. Then I simply just cut it out with my scissors. And as long as you're, you know, pretty slow and don't get in a big hurry, you can have just a pretty good circle. Now, if my circle was a little big, what I did was I just simply snipped off a little of the end when I went to put it on my chipboard. So, see, like here, I had just a little bit, and what I did was I just snipped it. So that made my circle. Then for, oh, and I guess I should have told you, this here actually measured, let's see, I'm thinking it's 7 3/4 is what that ended up measuring. Let me look real quick. 7 7/8. This was 7 7/8, what it ended up measuring across. So 7 7/8 is what you'll need for that. Now, let me see if I forgot something here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you. Now, this was Belinda Akers binding. So I'm going to link her channel where I found this at. I'll link the video, her tutorial for this. But what she does is she takes 2 hair bands and she just simply ties a piece of ribbon on it. Then she takes, and I'm just going to kind of use this as my, you know, how to show you. And she takes all of her pages and she simply just feeds the hairband through the pages, if I can get it. I actually on mine used a crochet hook because the pages were so many and so thick. But that's what she did. She simply pulled it there and then turned around and fed it through the back side. And then took her piece of ribbon. See if I can find a piece of ribbon here. Well, I don't see one. I'll just use this one. I had one cut, but you know how that goes. I've lost it in the process. So anyway, all she did was after it was on the album, she simply just took another piece of ribbon, tied it, and that's what I did. And of course, when your book is full, this is what it kind of looks like. And what I did was I just added ribbon on each side of the hairbands that was kind of left over there, which wasn't too much, but that's how I added so many ribbons. And that is what makes the binding. So anyway, I hope that helps you. I hope that I explained everything well enough that, you know, you can make one pretty simply. So anyway, thanks so much for watching.